All right. Okay. So if we could start off by you telling us your name and a little bit about what you do, like what company you work for or school. What is your profession?
Okay, my name is Esther Blanchet, and I am a intervention specialist. I should say I am an intervention specialist in Lorain City Schools in Lorain, Ohio. And in my position as intervention specialist, I am a co-teacher in 8th grade. And so I have a general education class of 26 students. 11 of those students are identified as special education and have IEPs, goals, objectives, and all of that. And there are 2 teachers in the classroom at all times. There's the core subject teacher, whether it be science, social studies, ELA, or math, and there's me. And the core teacher teaches the subject area, and I work with the students in the classroom to make sure that they understand the topic, that they need any reading support, any writing support, any reteaching, any modeling, anything like that to help make sure that my 11 students can understand the topic and meet the requirements of the assignment.
All right. That's great. um, so what type of schooling or degrees did you go through in certifications to obtain this position?
I have a bachelor's degree in science and education in special education. I have a master's degree in education in education. I could have taken this position with a bachelor's degree, and I did initially, and then I continued to work and continued to learn to obtain my master's. And I have a couple other certifications on top of that, but they're not related to this position, this particular position.
That's great. So why do you love this job? What are the benefits and what makes you love it so much?
This particular position, the benefits are amazing.
Mhm.
Historically, most special education students don't receive support every day, all day in all their classes. They generally get 2 days a week for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever in ELA or math. They don't ever have this level of support that allows students with special needs to do what's expected of them in the classroom and get it and understand it. And
Mhm.
just being able to see that makes this all worthwhile.
Yeah. Could you give us an example of growth you've seen in a particular student?
I had one student who came to me this year. Remember, this is 8th grade. And I
Yeah.
had a student who came to me this year reading at a kindergarten level. He just had not been able to be taught the way he needed it. He was not able to really fully understand the concepts of reading, the science of reading. And by the time he left me at the end of the year, he was reading at a mid-second grade level. So it's not, when you're looking at the grand scheme of things of 8th grade, it's not where he needs to be. But when you're looking at the fact that he was kinder and he's now mid-second, and he was able to stay in those regular classes and with the right amount of support, get A's and B's because he understood the material. He just needed help being able to present that understanding of that material. He's probably my biggest star this year.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool that you get to see that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you about the flip side now. What are the challenges and makes the things that make the job really hard?
The challenges that make this job very hard is seeing those kids that just aren't going to get it,
Mhm.
that the disabilities are significant enough, or the lack of support outside of school is significant enough that you just know without somebody getting in and stepping in, they're not going to be as successful as you want them to be. And the other downside of it, I will say, is the amount of work involved. I have to meet with my teachers, each of them. I meet with them as a group once a week. So all of us meet together, my 4 core teachers and myself, we meet together, we talk about what's coming up and what we're doing and what's happening in the school and all that. But then I also have to meet with them individually so that I can say, okay, what lessons are we looking at for next week? How do we need to modify this for this student and adjust it for this student? And what do I need to do here? And, oh, we can't do that. Let's change that whole thing up because that's not going to work. And things like that. And that just takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And then just trying to kind of keep notes on where, because with 11 students, I have to have documentation on all 11 students on where they are, where they're going. Did they meet this objective? Did they meet this objective? Did they not meet this objective? Why not? Have I been able to teach this objective? If not, why not? And all of that documentation is definitely hard. Just
Mhm.
keeping nice and keeping it all straight.
Yeah. So with that said, what is your daily routine like? Like, do you have time set aside for like figuring out what you're gonna do with these kids and then actually going and working with the kids?
I get to school usually between 7:45 and 8, and the kids get there at 8:50. So I have that first 45 minutes to an hour to get everything ready I need for the day. Whether it's bringing my clip, because I always have a clipboard, I have dry erase boards, dry erase marker, eraser, and everything. Have my pen with me so that if I have all of their IEP notes on my clipboard so that I can make notes in class if we're working on a particular skill. That's the morning of getting all of that ready for the day. And then I go to my first period class and we just do a regular class. And then we have planning times built into our day. And that's once a week we meet as a team. And then once again, I'll meet with them individually, depending on, I usually do two. Like we have a 45-minute planning period. I can usually get two of them in one day. I'll go to one teacher. And then if I can get to the second one, I will. Otherwise it's just one a day. And then I go back to the rest of my classes. And then after school, I'm generally there about an hour after the kids leave. Cleaning my room back up again because it's generally a disaster by then, and then organizing my notes. Did I remember to mark everything down? Okay, what did we do in math today? Oh, I didn't notate that. Let me go back and notate that so that I'm still keeping up on my record keeping. It's
Very organized.
That's kind of a skeleton outline, but that's my day.
All right. And then I have one last question for you. So as someone that wants to be a teacher and go into this field, what should I be doing in college and what steps should I be taking to work in a position like the one you are in?
I would take as many opportunities as you can to visit as many different environments as you can. Because there's a lot of things your classroom teacher, your instructors now, and I know they're probably going to see this and they're probably going to, send out the lynch mob for me. But there's a lot of your professors are teaching you now that may not be up to current. They may not be up to where things are actually happening, and they may not be the most appropriate things, even though they're standard and they're great in theory, they don't always work in reality. So the best thing is to go out and see, visit some classrooms, spend some time in some classrooms, watch their behavior, their classroom management, watch their instructional practices. How do they differentiate? How do they, learn their kids? That probably would be my number one, because that's the one thing we didn't learn as much in school. And I've heard that a lot from a lot of different teachers, is that I know all the theory, but when it comes down to the practice, it's not always the same. So that's going to be my biggest one, is just get out to as many different environments to see as many different teaching styles as you can, because most likely yours will be bits and pieces from everybody you've seen.
All right. That's great. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. This was a big help. All right. So I'm going to see if I can figure out how to stop this recording.